The American Basketball Association is the largest pro league in the world. Some great opportunities for team ownership are available, and the cost may surprise you. If you've ever thought about team ownership in a pro league, give us the opportunity to help make it a reality. Reach out to us for more info. For USA teams at www.abaliveaction.com. In Australia, go to www.abaleagueaustralia.com.
Hi guys, CJ here. We currently have a few positions available for relationship managers. If you would like the opportunity to work in sports marketing, this could be it. The ABA is the largest pro league in the world and partnered with the AAU, representing over 700,000 athletes around the world. Building business relationships and helping bring new audiences to every business we're working with is the goal. We're not limited to one state or region. Businesses partnering with sports is always a win-win for the community. Sound interesting? Then drop us an email and give more information at jobs@aba1on1.club, and we'll get back to you right away.
Sassy B Worldwide Productions. With over 25 years of entertainment experience, we have done it all. Celebrity appearances, red carpet events, image consultation, and branding design. Our clients range from American football stars to Hollywood celebrities and everyone in between. Want to make a splash in the entertainment industry? Then it's time to get sassy. SassyBWorldwide.com.
You're listening to ABA One-on-One Podcast.
Hey guys, it's time for a new episode of ABA One-on-One.
Open up, yeah. Open up now. Open up. Open up, yeah. Open up. Open up now.
Hey guys, welcome back to another ABA One-on-One. We got Brian and Rick back with me, and the special guest today is former Laker Brian Shaw in the house. Welcome, Brian. Man, let's talk basketball, man. How you going?
I'm great, man. How you guys doing?
All right.
Everything's good.
Hey, Brian Bonds, we'll let you kick this thing off, man.
Okay, B baby. How you doing, man?
I'm good. BV. BV.
You know, that's a brothers for life. This is family right now that we're talking with.
For sure.
So I'll get you started. B, you've had a great career, man. You've had a real great career as far as a player and as far as a coach. And, you know, I followed your career closely. And I know it's a lot. You got a lot of highlights, okay? You got a lot of highlights. Tell me what would be your biggest achievement. And I mean, I know you got some rings, man, but there's always one ring that's probably more special than the other. What would be the biggest highlight of your illustrious career?
Well, that's easy for me, and it's when we won the first championship in 2000 with the Lakers. I had been to the finals before in 1994-95 season in Orlando with Shaq and Penny Hardaway, and we got swept by Hakeem Olajuwon and the Rockets, and that left a sour taste in our mouth, and so 5 years later, I team up with Shaq again in LA. Phil Jackson's first year as a coach, and with Kobe, who I had known since he was about 11 years old, because I played against his father over in Italy when I played in the league over there in 1989. And but it was the road to get to the championship that year and everything that we did that was kind of off kilter, so to speak, because Phil Jackson had some unique methods in terms of, relating to and getting to his players. But that whole season of doing these things, and then in the Western Conference Finals against the Portland Trailblazers, getting down 16 in the fourth quarter, and being an integral part of, knocking down some key shots, and making some key plays on the defensive end helped, us overcome that deficit to get to the finals, and then to finally be able to, the second time at it, be able to be a part of a team that won it, and not only won that championship, but it was the beginning of 3 in a row. Definitely that first championship and that journey to get there is a highlight of my career.
Wow.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Shawshank Redemption.
Fantastic.
There it is.
'Cause I know. Go ahead. There it is.
Hey, can I tell you guys
the
a story? Can I tell you guys a story?
Sure. Yeah, man.
So
It's all
let me
about you today. Yeah.
So, I'm gonna tell you how close me and Brian Bonds were when we were at Santa Barbara together. We were on our way one night off campus to a white party, where everybody has to wear white.
I think you just hit a nerve right there.
Oh, here we go.
And he had on some brand new clean white tennis shoes, some white jeans, a white sweatshirt, and a white leather jacket, right? Like he went the whole way, like everything white, all the way down, right? So I had on
6'8".
right. And I had on all white, as well.
God.
But we're heading to this party. We're walking through campus to go off campus to this party.
Goleta.
Yes, in Goleta, in Isla Vista. And I don't even remember what
God.
you did something. I don't know if you didn't fall, but you rubbed up against something.
That was Bobby. No, it was Bobby Love. Remember Bobby Love, the little dude who was a little track dude. Remember he was messing with me, so I started chasing him.
And he fell.
I started chasing him and I fell.
He fell and he got all this white. He got dirty, right? And so he was like, "Man, I can't go to the party like this. My white is scuffed up and everything. I'm all dirty." So the good friend that I was, I said, "Look, man, we're not gonna walk all the way back to the dorms and then have to come back, change, and then walk all the way back." So I just dove in the dirt.
Wow.
So that we could both go to the party dirty in our white, so that he wouldn't feel like, out of place.
God.
So anyway, that's my
my
BV
God.
story. That's how close we were.
Oh my God, man. Oh my God. You remember that. That's cool.
Wow.
That is cool. Because that was we had me and B, we got some stories, man. We were hard and cold in that.
Yes, we were. Yes, we were. Hey,
we
before
were.
gangster rap
Oh,
even was
my
on the
God.
map, huh?
Exactly.
Hey, Brian,
Oh,
let me
my
ask you a
God.
question. Was Daryl
Sure.
Armstrong with you guys in Orlando?
Yeah, Daryl came about halfway through the season. He joined our team and stayed with us. The remainder that year when I was in Orlando. So he went to that was the year when Jordan came back from playing baseball.
Yeah,
we actually knocked them out of the Eastern Conference Finals to get to the finals.
Yeah, we had Nick Anderson on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Daryl Armstrong, we called him Baby Boy. And the reason why we called him Baby Boy was because when he first got there out of Fayetteville State,
Yep. Punter on the football team.
he was a place kicker and punter.
Yeah.
And actually he had the record in their league for a long time. I think somebody just recently broke it for the longest field goal. But anyway, we gave him the nickname Baby Boy because when he got there, he couldn't remember anybody's names. So he called everybody Baby Boy. So we were at the owner of our team, Rich DeVos, at the time, who, he was one of the founders of Amway.
Uh-huh.
We were at his place at Mr. DeVos's house in Palm Beach, West Palm Beach, at a team function. And he came over to speak to Daryl because Daryl was new on the team, to introduce himself, let him know that he was the owner. And Daryl called him. He said, "Nice to meet you, baby boy." And so not only did he, whoever it was, he couldn't remember their name. He just referred to everybody as Baby Boy. So to this day, that's his nickname. That's what stuck with him. And, he obviously had a great career in Orlando, and now he's coaching, one of the coaches with the Dallas Mavericks. But if you ever see him or talk to him again, just say, "What's up, baby boy?" Yeah. He's going to turn around and double back and look at you.
I used to spend a lot of time with him. I live over in Daytona Beach.
Okay.
I go to a lot of Magic games, a lot. So I knew Daryl because I went to school in Fayetteville too.
Oh, okay.
So I know Daryl from way back. And
got you.
John Gabriel, I guess he was a GM. Right?
Yes. Yep. John Gabriel was the one that put it all together. Him and Pat Williams put it all together in Orlando in those early years.
One of the finest people ever, John Gabriel. I talk to him every other day.
Okay.
He's wonderful.
Good man. Yep.
Now, B.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to talk to you about what you, as far as again, because CJ alluded to earlier, that we're looking at bringing out coaches and do a coaching camp and do some other things here in Australia. We'd love to have you a part of it. But as a coach, the last time we saw each other, what was that? 2016 was it? When
I think the first year I was back. When you brought the team to the Staples Center to the game. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. 2016.
Yeah. So with that, 2016. Coaching. Your coaching career, and I know we spoke a little bit about it, but could you enlighten the listeners about your coaching career, like how you did in Denver, and again, you were part of that Indiana staff as well. What are you up to now? I think I know you're into the G League.
Yes.
With the Ignite, I believe. But could you just enlighten people on your coaching highlights in your coaching career?
For sure. So I retired from playing, retired as a Laker in 2003. And my last 2 years, one of the assistant coaches, Frank Hamlin, who was on Phil Jackson's staff in Chicago as well as with the Lakers, used to tell me all the time, "You're going to be a coach. You're going to be a coach." And I would say, "Nah." And he'd be like, "No, you're going to coach." And I'd ask him, "Why you say that?" And he said, "Because Shaq and Kobe are the stars of the team, but everybody listens to you and respects and trusts what you say." So he said, "I want you to start coming into the coaches' meetings in the mornings when we're preparing for practice. And I want you to sit in on the meetings and I'm going to teach you how we do our scouting reports and things of that nature." So I started coming in the mornings before practice and sitting in with the coaches and I was helping him do his scouting reports and things like that. He was teaching me the ropes. So when I retired in 2003,
right.
The Lakers made me a college scout. So I kind of did half a season basically doing some collegiate scouting, and then I started doing some advanced scouting for the team. And then a year after that, Phil Jackson came back to the Lakers and hired me as an assistant coach. And so I did that, with the Lakers from 2004 to 2011 under his tutelage. And, we won 2 more championships in 2009, 2010. And so I only knew kind of the Lakers way of doing things. And we always had veterans on the team, for the most part. And then in 2011, 2012 seasons went to Indiana as the associate head coach under Frank Vogel. and got to work with, young Paul George and Lance Stevenson and George Hill, David West, these guys. So we quickly, rose in the Eastern Conference and went to the Eastern Conference Finals a couple years and lost to LeBron and the Big Three in Miami at that time, D Wade and Chris Bosh. Actually, Big Four too. Ray Allen joined.
Ray Allen.
But learned a different way of doing things. And my strength, I guess I would say, I always had a good rapport with the players, and I loved getting on the floor and actually putting in sweat equity, like, doing stuff to make them go game speed and replicate what they were going to see in the game on that particular night. So 2 years in Indiana, got an opportunity to be the head coach in Denver. And, first time head coach, first time general manager. We had their first time president of the team and Stan Kroenke's son, Josh Kroenke. And so, we all made a lot of mistakes, just trying to figure things out and, and what have you. And so my stint in Denver lasted only about a year and a half, not even 2 complete seasons. But I guess the biggest takeaway for me was I learned how to be, since then. And now I've, after that, I went 3 years as an associate head coach for Luke Walton with the Lakers. And then now I'm the head coach of the G League Ignite. And I'll get into that in a second. But my biggest takeaway from my time in Denver as an NBA head coach was I drew kind of a line in the sand. And I was like, this is what I know. This is how we're going to do it. And if you don't want to do it this way, then you need to be somewhere else. And, that's kind of the way that we were coached, right? The coach says something, that's what you did. And we live in a different day and age now. And so for me, it was very, very hard for me to coach the way a lot of coaches do now, which is kind of like, everything's going to be okay. You guys are doing great, even though you're not doing great. It was hard for me to be patient and bite my tongue.
Stroking egos.
Right. And so these last 4 years or 4 or 5 years since that experience in Denver, I've gained. I'm 55 years old now. I've gained a lot of patience. I'm still true to who I am, but I've learned that, people retain information in different ways, right? And so to connect with some people, they're visual learners, some are auditory, some are kinesthetic, where they got to put their bodies through it. So I feel like just with more time, I've become more seasoned. And now, I'm coaching the head coach of this G League Ignite team, which is a different pathway for, elite high school players that don't want to go to college and don't want to go overseas, but want to play professionally and start getting ready for the NBA. It's a pathway for them to do that. And so I love that because it's all about development. And it's developing these elite, 2 of my players on this team this year are going to be in the top 5 draft picks in this year's draft, Jalen Green and Jonathan Kuminga. But getting to work with that kind of talent and getting them ready for the next step so that whatever coach they have in the NBA, it can make them their jobs a lot easier because now these guys are more prepared and they've been exposed to the schemes in the NBA, offensive, defensive schemes, the sets, and the terminology and things of that nature. So I love it. I get to do kind of things the way that I want to do them. And, these guys are eager to learn. And so it's a great situation for me.
Brian, I want to just mention one thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as your philosophy of, as far as my way of the highway, this type of thing, I think there's a few coaches, and I think it comes from maybe credibility or whatnot, to Phil Jackson's, to Greg Popovich. There's 4 or 5 of not as many.
Pat Riley.
Pat Riley,
Chuck Daly.
you
Yeah.
draw the line in the stand. And if you didn't want to adhere to it, well, you need to go somewhere else. But the younger coaches, I don't think they have that kind of credibility. I don't think the players ain't gonna listen to them. Like you said, it's a new age now. It's a new
Right.
age. It's different now. But I think those Popovich, even now they're down now, but he's still got his credibility. He says something, it goes.
For sure. And you have to have backing of the front office and the management and ownership in order to be able to take that stance anyway, but that's, obviously Chuck Daly, championship coach, Pat Riley, Popovich, Phil Jackson, those are the guys who over the last 30 years won the majority of the championships that have been won. So they are getting that respect. Now, I thought that, because I had played under Phil Jackson, coached under Phil Jackson, won 5 championships altogether, that would have carry some weight when I was dealing with some of the young players that I was dealing with on that Denver Nuggets team. But they didn't care about that, right? It was, and especially they look, with internet and everything else, they could Google me and my stats. My stats weren't impressive in the NBA. I probably over a 15-year career averaged a little under 9 points and maybe 5 rebounds and
9.2
6 6 assists or whatever it is. So when they Google me, they look at me and the first half of the year of my career I started, the second half I didn't. So they say, oh, well, from what they remember when they saw, you just were a role player off the bench and you trying to, this, that, and the other. So what I did in the past and what I had accomplished meant nothing at all to them. And, and so just trying, like I say, really it's just about trying to find a way to connect with these guys, and find out what motivates them and gets them going and, what's going to make them perform the best. So that's what I'm learning.
Now, on that note, because I can relate to what you're saying with my coaching over here and coaching teams and players and developing players here. Do you find that because of today's internet and YouTube, I always tell these guys that Google ain't going to solve your problem. You got to put the work in. But do you find that today's player is softer and needs to be cuddled more? Because I think, back in our day, you had to earn it. As to where today, everybody gets a participation trophy. How do you feel about today's athletes?
Well, I'm not going to say that they're softer, but it's just different. I mean, that's if I haven't learned anything else, I've learned that it's just different, right? Like I have kids. My kids range from, my oldest, which is my niece that I raised since she was 11 months old. She's 28. Yeah. My son is 22 and my daughter is about to turn 20 in a couple of weeks. And so they have helped me kind of understand and deal with the players that I'm coaching now because they're in that same little area of life. And so it's just different, right? Like I grew up in Oakland and catching the public transportation, to and from school and having to deal with the stuff that I've dealt with. And as my father always told me, I always wanted to make things better for you kids than it was for himself. And then I took on that philosophy, right? So because of what I did, I was able to provide for my son in a way that, not very many people that I grew up with or that was around were able to do, right? So they went to the best schools. They lived in the nicest houses, were driven around in the best cars. And so my son, like he's on basketball scholarship at UC Davis here, but his whole demeanor and attitude when it comes to things and like having your head on the swivel and being on point all the time because you had to for survival purposes, he didn't have that. right? He hadn't been subjected to that. And I think a lot of these players are in that same boat, right? It's just a different time. And so instead of me going, you know what, they're soft and they didn't have to go through the same struggle that I went through, and then like kind of holding that against them, I just look at it and have learned to, it wasn't always this way, but now I understand it's like it's different. It's a different time. I wonder what it would have been like for us if we had the internet and Wi-Fi and computers and even cell phones. Like cell phones weren't even around when we were in school at UCSB, right? And so when you have exposure to everything and access to everything that these kids and these players have now, it makes the whole game is different now. And so trying to understand that, but still trying to be true to who I am, that's that delicate balance, you know. And so I used to be quick to say, yeah, y'all are soft. You know, you never had to go through anything. It's easier for you now. You know, like I could tell a million stories. You know, we flew commercial. We stayed in places like the Howard Johnson when I was, when I first got into the league with Boston, right? And these guys now are the Four Seasons and Ritz-Carlton and fly charters, and, you know, meals are prepared for them, and they get wake up calls and stuff like, you know, that we had to do all on our own. It's just a different time now. And so, you know, there's going to be a different product that results from that.
That's a great point.
B, I just jump in real quick. We got about 7 minutes up, guys, but hey, I definitely get where you guys are going with that. But, you know, I mean, the bottom line to me is being a person that's been around basketball most of my life, you know, even though I didn't make it, you know, like to the pro level or anything. You know, what you have achieved and the time that you did play, you played with the legends of the game, you know, against Larry Bird, people like that, Kobe. You played with, you know, the time when Jordan was out there, and what I say, baby Shaq, before Shaq put on weight and moved to LA. You know, you were there for all of that, and you got them rings to prove it. So if they real ballers will listen to you, because, you know, no matter what, you know, you've made it, man. Whether you gave your contribution to the team, to your teams, just like Michael Cooper. You know, Michael Cooper. Yeah. You know, he was that one guy that was a clutch guy. You only brought him in at a certain time, and then he'd lead a game. You know, every bit counts. Every bit counts. You know.
And CJ, you know, I like. That's always a part of me, right? Like they can never take that away from me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I feel blessed to have. I mean, my rookie year was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's his last year, right? So I played against and played with, like you said, Magic Johnson. I mean, you know, against Magic, with Larry Bird and Kevin McHale.
Yeah.
Red Auerbach drafted me. I've been under Jerry West was the GM when I was, that brought me to the Lakers when I came there in 99, 2000. Chick Hearn was the legendary announcer with the Lakers, and Johnny Most when I was in Boston, right? So some of the top guy, and then I, played all the way through. And seeing the Jordans, and I played with Allen Iverson, and obviously Kobe and Penny, and different guys that I played with and played against during that time, and then on top of that, the guys that I've coached. And so that's something that they can never take away from me. But the only reason why I'm sensitive to how these guys are, right, and why I understand why we're quick to say that they're soft and this, that, and the other. But when I came in the league in 1988, these players that I'm coaching now, and some of the young players that I've coached over the last few years, they weren't even born yet.
Yeah.
So
born, yeah.
So they have no idea. So that would be like me turning back the clock and trying to find some film of George Mikan and and some of the players, well, I'm old enough to remember Wilt a little bit and see some stuff, but like just going all the way back. And so because of that, I get it a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like they weren't even born yet. So they know what they know now, because this world that they live in is instant, and whatever's in their hand that they can type in on their phone and computer or whatever and Google and get to, that's what they know, you know? And so I get that now.
All right.
And,
Brian, I'll leave you the last question, man. We got about 3 minutes up in here. Don't want time to run out on nobody.
Oh man. Okay. Well, see, I got a lot of questions.
Well, you can get on the phone and call my brother. Well, you know that.
Well, I'm gonna get on the phone and call you. I'm gonna give you a call this week, B, for real.
I want his number, Brian.
But with it, you know, like, look, man. Again, you know me. I know you, man. You know, I love you as a brother, man. Always. But
love you too.
For our viewers, man, I just want to say thanks for coming on. To be honest with you, I don't have any questions.
Good,
because I know we're getting short on time, but I just want to say thank you, man, for reaching out and being on with us today, man. Because your story in basketball, and a lot of people don't know your story. I mean, I remember that first day we was at UCSB. And we hooked up, it was like from that point on, we was riding thick or thin, you know what I mean? So
for sure, you had just come from Montana Tech playing for Kelvin Sampson.
That's my guy.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I remember all that.
And the stuff that we went through. See, I could tell some stories, but I'm gonna save
most of them you can't tell on air.
Well, I can't tell exactly.
hey, Brian, that's why I say we got to say we call this part one, and then we'll do part two a little bit later on. And the way you guys sound, we might have to have a part three. Hey, Rick, you want to say anything, man? We got about a minute left, Rick, before we get out of here.
All right, Brian, I want to get your number from B. Vaughn's, because I got some things I want to talk to you about as well.
Okay.
That some kind of amusing little story about you. But anyway, I want to thank you again. I'm so glad to hook up with you. Jim Clemens, I talked to him. He's a very good friend of mine, and he speaks very highly of you.
Okay.
He just moved back to Ohio. And,
okay.
But anyway, he wanted to say hello to you. But I want to give you a call hopefully soon and talk to you a little bit.
All okay, right, sounds good, and I just appreciate you guys having me on. And I'll tell you this for your viewers and your listeners, I promise you that if time permits and in my schedule there's no conflicts, when you guys put on one of these coaches camps, I will come out and be a part of it. And that's like I said, one of the places in the world that I haven't been, and so I definitely want to get out there and I want to connect with you guys and grow this game that we all love so dearly.
All right, man. Look, guys, we got to wrap it. Brian, thank you, man. We will be back in touch for sure, man.
Thanks, Brian.
Everybody have a good weekend, guys.
All right, you guys take care. All right.
All right, big. Peace, man.
All right, later, people.
Peace.
Come explore the No Strings Attached e-News online magazine. Our global array of authors inspire, delight, and educate with practical and entertaining articles. And with Focus On, we help producers of film, web series, and other video content attract a wider audience. Plus, your project can stream on Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, and more with our media partners E360 TV and NETV. No Strings Attached e-News, focusing on human interest. Advertising available, nsaen.com.
Well, that's going to do it for this week. Remember, you can keep up with every episode by subscribing via our website. Follow us on social media and tell your friends about us. Next week, new guests, more basketball tips, more basketball stories about the game we all love. Till then, be safe and keep your eyes on the ball.